I thought Donald Trump had been assassinated, and I thought to myself, this is the best day of my life.
And he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed!
Can you really blame him?
Demented, demonic, deranged, and disturbing. Those are the words that come to mind when I start to think about the truly insane stuff we're going to tackle on today's episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, which is going to be a more serious and less humorous edition than usual. If you're new here, I'm Brad Polumbo, and I cover all the craziest things on the internet and in our politics from a center-right independent perspective. Please do consider subscribing and sticking around, and if you're a returning viewer, do hit that like button, do comment with your thoughts. I do take the time to read the comments, and I pick a few to respond to in every episode. Now we, of course, are going to talk about the Saturday evening attempted assassination of former president and current presidential candidate Donald Trump. It took place at a Pennsylvania campaign rally, and it's honestly shocked the conscience, it's shocked the nation, and I think it will go down in history as kind of a 9/11 type event in the historical sense that everyone will remember where they were when they found out what happened. I was sitting at my kitchen counter and my boyfriend called me to tell me, and at first I was like, are you sure that's not a deep fake video? Or where did you see this? Like Reddit? Like I almost couldn't believe my eyes. But no, it really did happen. And it's a really disturbing and dark day for our country and a really concerning time for America right now. Although, thank God, Trump was just skimmed by the bullet and did not die. But a man in the background was killed and others were critically wounded. And it's just a tragic and senseless loss of life and a terrible act of senseless violence. We'll learn more about the shooter and the shooting in the coming days. There needs to be a serious inquisition and inquiry into the Secret Service and what may have gone wrong. But on today's show, I want to talk about the fallout, much of which has left me deeply, deeply disturbed. To be clear, I think the mainstream Democratic left, Joe Biden, other elected Democrats, have more or less done the decent thing. They've condemned this violence and, at least for now, paused some of the hyperbolic and alarmist rhetoric they've recently engaged in. I'll give them a modicum of credit for meeting that basement level moral standard, I guess. But what's been incredibly disheartening and disturbing to me is the fringe online left that's also not that fringe, unfortunately, and the demented and demonic way in which they have essentially been lamenting the fact that Trump wasn't killed, or in an alternate take that many of them have been spreading, suggesting that it's all some conspiracy or setup or that the whole thing was faked. To start, we're going to take a look at a video from Noah Miller, an influencer with more than 4 million followers. Here's the disturbing video he published shortly after the news broke.
Telling me the bullet hit his ear. His ear, skimmed his ear, just brushed past him. Oh my God, why couldn't it have been 2 inches in and we would have never had to hear about him again? We are going to be hearing about Trump getting shot at that rally for the rest of our lives. He is going to personally make sure none of us ever forget what happened today. I'm so scared he's going to...
As if the video wasn't bad enough, look at these comments. And this is just scrolling through for a few seconds. These comments, absolutely disgusting and vile. Not only this creator who has a massive platform, but every single one of these people in the comments were cheering this on with what happened today.
As the user who reposted this video pointed out, the comments are even more disturbing than the original video. Like, are assassins not good anymore, or what? 30,000 likes on that comment. Nah, for real, and 8 shots? How does one miss that much? 13,000 likes on that comment. They missed, and there's no Love Island tonight. Today drained me. No, seriously, like, they couldn't have done tryouts first? Like, send your best guy. We were so close. Heartbreak emoji. Get somebody else to do it, please. So close. And guys, the original video from Noah Miller, which he has since taken down, received more than 167,000 likes. That means hundreds of thousands of young people approvingly or humorously went along with this insane celebration of political violence and lamentation that the loss of life wasn't even more extreme. That is pure and unmitigated evil. There's no other word for it, y'all. And I wish I could tell you that it was just this one video, just one crazy creator, and that I was nitpicking. I am not. There were genuinely too many videos to count or catalog in one place on TikTok, spreading the sadness that the shooter missed and basically wishing that the shooting had been successful. Here's a compilation of some of those most disturbing videos.
Just got out of the movies, and for a split second, I thought Donald Trump had been assassinated, and I thought to myself, this is the best day of my life. And then he wasn't, so it's the worst day of my life.
I just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Ah!
We're not even sending our best to assassinate. Cause what the hell was that? Lee Harvey Oswald would never, bitch. John Wilkes Booth would never.
Also, the person that at Trump at his rally was exercising that right that all those Republicans were fighting for. So can you really blame him?
My dad just called me to tell me that Trump got shot, and I said good over the phone. And he was like, don't say that over the phone. Like, you can't say that over the phone. And I just want to make this as a public apology to my FBI agent. I don't believe in guns, but I just wanted to support a good cause.
It's always hard to quantify stuff like this, but here's what I can say. Multiple entire stadiums full of young people liked and or laughed at this deranged content endorsing the assassination of your political rivals. This is not normal. Gen Z is not okay. Something is deeply, deeply broken in the hearts and minds of some, not all, of our young people today. And again, to be crystal clear, it is not all of them. I'm not even sure that it's a majority. There were many people on TikTok, even left-leaning creators, pushing back on this insanity and saying, guys, politics aside, don't simp for murder.
You're sad they missed. You're sad that a man wasn't assassinated on live TV. Do you not get how crazy you sound? Like, you sound crazy. You sound like the basic, like, if you could just kill your political opponent, like, where does that leave us? You can just kill anybody you don't like? Are we gonna live in the purge? Like, you're very diabolical. I don't like it.
I give tremendous credit to these creators who bucked the disturbing trend and spoke out against this madness. Although not being evil really shouldn't be an accomplishment, that's where we are today, I guess. But the fact that millions of young people on this super popular app laughed and clapped along as their favorite creators unironically suggested that they wish Donald Trump had had his brains blown out. Guys, that's the kind of thing that genuinely keeps me up at night and makes me incredibly worried about the future of America, a future where many of these young people will be in positions of power. An innocent man was killed in the background. Countless women and children were traumatized. But these online crazy people are clapping along like seals, yet they somehow have the audacity to think they're the good guys. It's just sick. It's just evil. It's just un-American. Nobody deserves to be physically harmed just because you disagree with them. And that's true no matter how strenuous that disagreement is, no matter how many core issues that are super important to you, your differences touch upon. We settle our differences at the ballot box and in court, not in the streets and not with violence, not in America. You all know that I'm a critic of Trump and I'm not a supporter, but I am so incredibly thankful that shot missed him and did not successfully kill him. Because if it had, I genuinely fear that we would have had violence in the streets and maybe even some sort of civil conflict. This attitude of embracing political violence, whether it's on the left in this case or on the right as it has been in some other cases, it will destroy our country if it grows strong and prevalent enough. It will eventually, somewhere down the line, lead to civil war. It must be confronted and dismantled if we want our beautiful, amazing experiment of a country to survive. Now up next, I want to talk just briefly on the delusional conspiracy theories that have circulated online after the attempt on Trump's life. I'm going to roll a video from the actress Amanda Seales where she explains why she thinks it was staged.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove. Pop, pop, pop. Where'd the blood come from? So in theater, in movies, they have what's called blood pellets. They even, people use them in Halloween. It's basically a pellet of fake blood that's in your mouth, and when you crush it, the blood comes out. To be frank, Small Hands Trump would not respond by raising his fist in the air triumphantly were an actual attempt made on his life. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility. Oh my God.
And it wasn't just this one woke actress, guys. Staged or set up or all this stuff was all over TikTok and Twitter. This is reprehensible and irresponsible speculation with no basis in reality. A man, a father, is dead. We saw video of bodies being removed from the event. This wasn't fake or staged, and it's honestly grotesque and insulting to the victims and their families for people to suggest otherwise. Even on its own merits, this wild conspiracy theorizing makes absolutely no sense. Trump is up in all of the polls. He doesn't need some crazy Hail Mary fake false flag event to salvage his campaign or something. That makes no sense. And even if they were to attempt to stage something, you would never have a bullet skim your ear as part of a staged shooting. Nobody with an ounce of self-preservation would stage something so closely where anything just off an inch, he would have been dead. Are you joking? Are you insane? People on the left are so quick to decry conspiracy theorizing and misinformation on the right, sometimes with merit, sometimes not so much. But they need to be much quicker about calling out what is essentially blue QAnon, these insane, crazy conspiracy theorist Democrats who seek to deny reality rather than reckon with its ugly or inconvenient realities. Finally, guys, I want to touch on political rhetoric and the temperature of our political discourse, which I just think across the board needs to be taken down. For example, just days before the shooting, the Biden HQ official account tweeted an image from The Handmaid's Tale, a dystopian television series where women are forced into sex slavery, and suggested that that is what Trump's America would look like under a Trump second term. In the same way, let me read you some recent tweets from the last several years from Joe Biden. Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of this country. Donald Trump is the greatest threat to our democracy. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to a democracy. He's a threat to literally everything America stands for. You get the idea. Meanwhile, you have folks like MSNBC host Joy Reid routinely suggesting that Trump is literally Hitler.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House.
Now, I have plenty of criticisms of Trump. I've never been a supporter of his, and I never will be. But he was already president for 4 years of this country's history, and women were not put into sex slavery. He did throw a tantrum and try to overturn the result of an election, which I thought was disgraceful at the time, and I still do today. But our democracy and our institutions held and endured, and they absolutely would do so again if he was reelected. So while there's plenty of things to legitimately criticize Trump on these issues related to democracy or anything else, this level of hyperbole is obviously not based in fact or actual reality. And all it takes is for one deranged, crazy individual out there to take you seriously when you tell them that Trump is literally Hitler and will put women into sex slavery. And then you can end up with the kind of jarring and dangerous incident we saw on Saturday night. This shooter's motivations aren't confirmed, to be clear, and we will have to wait for the full facts and the full evidence before making any sweeping conclusions. And I always do believe that the ultimate responsibility for a shooter's actions are 100% on their shoulders. No one else is ultimately responsible for the deed other than the person that chose to pull the trigger. All the same, how many times do you have to tell Americans Trump is literally Hitler, will be a dictator, will destroy our country irreparably before one person believes you and acts accordingly? Alarmist, doomsday rhetoric, it comes from the right too, to be clear. And I think Republicans should be far less quick to call the people that disagree with them groomers, aka child molesters, or other such alarmist rhetoric. But I do think it is more common among progressives and liberal media outlets. After all, remember when net neutrality was going to end the internet as we know it? Regardless, we desperately need leaders on both sides to better model civility and bring the temperature down in our politics, to disempower the kind of crazy, deranged people we're seeing go viral right now for their unhinged responses to this atrocity, and to ensure that our beautiful, amazing, chaotic country doesn't eventually tear itself apart at its seams. That's just my take on this hot mess of a couple of days, guys. I know I haven't been able to cover it all and go into great depth on every aspect of it. I've been doing some TV on it over on Sky News Australia, so you can check out those videos if you want to hear more of my take, and I'm sure we'll cover more of the fallout this week. I'm not going to do any crazy TikTok reactions today or read your comments because I want to treat this week's events with the somberness and the gravity that they deserve, and I just don't have it in me to make jokes or call people delulu or sassily sip my iced coffee today. I just don't. I'm wishing you all well out there, and I'm just once again encouraging you to never go down this dehumanizing path of demagoguery where we start to view our fellow Americans as evil or deserving of violence just because they disagree with us in fundamental ways. Whether it's by God or just by our common decency and our sense of morals, we are called to love our neighbors and to try to convince and compel them to our side, not eliminate and destroy them. And when we go down that path, things get dark very quickly, and those same forces inevitably boomerang and backfire back against the people who initially employed them. That's just about all I have to say on this story and on everything that's going on right now. I will be coming back to you tomorrow with another episode. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for tuning into this show and this series and joining me in this mission to try to restore a rational, independent perspective on things in our politics and in our culture. And let's all hope that things turn around, and let's all be thankful that this didn't go how it could have gone, because that might have actually done some damage to our country that there's no coming back from. All right, everybody, I'll leave it there for now, and we'll talk again tomorrow.